Hello and welcome to another tutorial. This time I am going to attempt to make a clock. As you can see, I've got various different stages of pattern in front of me. Here is the clock mechanism, which is a battery operated clock. I think you all recognise it. That's the hands. You'll see as we're going along that's the way I make it. And hopefully I'll explain it. It's all in my head. I've never made one before. I've got this idea by looking at some clocks I've got downstairs, or my brother's got downstairs, and I thought I would have a go. Now I've got some cardboard, some felt, got some pattern already that I've worked out. I'm going to make an owl. Now I've got some pictures off the internet, roughly the right size that I want to do. That if I put this at the back with the hands, I can probably make a nice clock. Obviously it's got to be stiff, so I've got a piece of card for the dial. I've got some things here I've got to put make numbers out of on my sissix. Hopefully I haven't done this yet. I'm going to use this is my body. I've got two of those. I've also got some fleece to help make it stiffer, plus the card for the dial, and then different colours of felt. So hopefully, let's start sewing. Well, I'm going to start ironing the fleece onto the fabric first, and let's take it from there. So as you can see, I've now got it on the ironing board, and I've got a front and a back piece. I want completely covered by the fleece on one of them, because I've got to try and make this a little bit stiffer. And then this section here turns down, so therefore I don't want it too stiff on this join. So then the other one, I thought I will only want it sort of like from the neck where it's going to bend then down. So one's completely and one's from the bend down. So that's what we've got so far. So once you've got your heat up for whatever you're using, then cover it with greaseproof, and you're not going to get nothing over your iron. And then continue to do that until it all sticks where you want it to stick, and then you need to cut it out. I think what I'll do on the next one is just cut it out with the greaseproof. There you go, and then continue with the other one. So we've got one piece that's got fleece all the way, and the other bit that's only got fleece half the way. Of course, the plan is to sew these two together and then to turn this over, and if I turn this over you'll see the owl shape appear. There you go. Oh, sorry, that's it. Something like that. There you go. You can see the owl shape, and his beak's here, and eyes. There's the ears at the sides, so it gives you a rough idea. And you can do this with a cat or a dog. Obviously you cut, and then you'll do a round shape for the dog or the cat's head, and then you have to do all the felt bits for the paws and the nose and the mouth, etc. So it's the same principle. So what we need to do is sew the two pieces together. So I've clipped mine. At the bottom bit just here I've left a straight edge, so I'm just going to go past the corners on either side and leave that open about 1.5 to 2 inches to pull it through. So I'm going to start, I'm going to use about 1/4 of an inch. So take that over. You can put your 1/4 of an inch foot on, or just gauge what 1/4 of an inch is on your foot. I'm going to use a 2.5 because it's quite thick. There's my corner just there, so I need to start just before that. That's about a quarter, and then go back when you start. Then where it goes into a corner and then veers back, so just go opposite there and then turn, and then turn again. Then we're coming up to where that neck is again, and go opposite the neck and then turn. And then I want to go this where my other corner is, so I want to go to where about here, and then back stitch. And then we need to cut some corners. I'll just lift you up and show you here. We go in there, so what I need to do is just clip it to the stitching, but not through the stitching on either side, so I'll get a better turn. Cut this off, but don't cut through the stitches. And cut across the top. That's it, and then it should hopefully be okay to pull through. Now I haven't left it very big, so I'm going to go to the ends and start from the other side and pull. And because it's not that much fabric, hopefully it'll come through as small, and I've got a less gap to sew up. And then we'll need to press and then sew. So continue to do that till you get it all out. So this is when it's all turned out and pressed, and I've turned under my bottom at 1/4 inch and just put the clips in to keep it there. I've pressed it all, both sides, made sure it's turning and it's taking shape. Then the idea now is to do an 1/8 of an inch seam all the way around, and to close the bottom up and to make it sit flatter on the sides. And then the next step, I think I've got to pull, yeah, there you go, look, that's taking shape already like an owl. I've got to sew just this section here, because I do like the fact that where it is stiff, it actually pulls that up and looks like ears. So that's the next step, 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So I've got my stitch length on 4, but nice and slow. You want it to look neat. And again, when you get to the shoulders, stop opposite to turn, and then turn your fabric. Again, when you get to the point, stop opposite the point and turn the fabric. There you go. So I've done a white cotton, but you can do one that matches or a contrasting fabric. So that's been sewn 1/8 of an inch all the way around. I'm going to put my stitch length back to 2.5 before I forget. And then we need to turn this top over. Now I like it about there, and then so I'm going to clip it, and then I'll show you. It actually looks like there's ears. There you go. And I'm just going to attach it. I'm just going to, I think I'll sew right across there and then just catch the beak. I'm going to make sure that's in the centre, and then I'm going to catch the beak on the line that I've already sewn just there. So even though I moved my stitch, I'm going to put it back up to 4 because it's quite thick. And I need to keep both my threads out, so it, because obviously I want it to look just as good on the back as what I do on the front. So these automatic don't always make it neat, and just want to catch that with one of the longer ones at the side, just to make sure it stays in where it's supposed to. And I'm just going to catch the end again on the sewing line I've already done, and don't forget to go back. So now that's been caught in the bottom as well. So cut your threads, press it. Right, now we're going to concentrate on the dial. We need to find out the centre of this exactly, so we can put a hole in ready to feed this through. So I found one of these, and just once I found the centre, then I just poked that through the middle, and I think that will fit. If not, we can just, there you are, that fits. You can push it on to get the measurement. This will be hidden anyway, so all you need is the hole for it to go through, because it's going to go through the back. Right, so what we need to do is put this onto here, choose, that's my front, and position it where I want it to be. I can always stick the felt on after. Draw, just measure it, make sure I've got it in the centre exactly where I want it to be. Draw the hole, and then I know where to, and then I can punch that one through to the back ready. This is the position I wished it to be. I've put one of my feet that I've cut out on the bottom to make sure that it's going to fit just inside there, look. And it will, so I've left plenty of room for them to be stuck on. I think it's in the centre from there to there. It looks central, so now I'm just going to draw my hole. So once you've drawn your hole, then you've got to make the hole somehow. So we might have to punch it. That's it. So I'm going to go off and try and make that hole. You'll have to use whatever you've got. I might be able to do this actually. Yeah, let's see if I can do it with this. As long as I can fold the fabric up, I can get in. There we go. So I've made my hole all the way through. Now I've got to see if it's big enough. Now I might have to fiddle with this at the front. Oh no, you can actually push it on. So hopefully we'll be able to get that all the way through to the top. So anyway, you do your hole the best way you can. So to get mine to go all the way through, I put little tiny snips in just around the hole that I made, and then I know that I can push this so it lies flat on the back. There you go. So the next stage, we need to stick the felt with fabric glue onto our card. And then obviously we have to see whether that's right. I need more fabric glue, that's just soaking in. So it looks like we're going to have to put a lot more fabric glue than that. And a little bit. Is it soaking into the... I'm nearly at the end of this. Let's try that. Now that's come through on the other side, look, so I don't suppose that's going to dry clear. So I might have to put another piece of felt on top now. unless I come up with a different plan. So that's something not to do. Right, okay, it's not drying, look, clear, so I'm going to have to, I've got no more black, so I'm going to have to use some purple. And I'm going to have a go this time at some stick and spray. So I sprayed mine in the bath, so I didn't get the spray everywhere. And now you need to make the hole through the felt on the other side. So I'll take my... I can't use the other thing on it because I can't bend the cardboard. So if we take this and give this a whack, move it about because it's very sharp at the end. And very gently see if it'll work. And it's not going. But I've got an indentation now. Perhaps I can go from this side. There you go, and it's gone through. It took some doing, but I've got it through. So now I've got a hole. So I need to make sure whether I can get that all the way through, and I can, so that's good, and it sits flat at the back. So this is a prototype. I've not made one of these before, so it's a learning curve about how to do it. So there you go. Just for a little bit of... I don't think me and felt like each other, to be honest. So that's what we've got so far. Now we need to stick this in the same place as the hole that I've already made in the back of the owl. So if I put them together and wiggle them, I should know roughly where they've got to go, making sure that it's in the middle and sitting at the bottom where I want it to. So that looks about right. I don't know if I'll be able to sew this. Right, I am going to have a go at sewing it on, so fingers crossed. I'll put my stitch length to 4/8 of an inch, and I'm holding it down in the centre where I want it to be. Hopefully it won't move. So far it seems to be going through. I've got 2 layers of felt, then the owl fabric, and the card, thin card. And because I'm using white cotton, I'm going to have to be really careful how I sew it, 'cause you'll see it. Take your time, there is no rush. Oh, yeah, my cotton broke just there. It's probably the glue that it didn't like. But I've only got a bit left to do, so hopefully that will start and stop where I want it to. and it's decided not to sew. So I'm going to show you all the bits that go wrong as well as the bits that hopefully go right. So we've rethreaded. No, I don't think it's sewing again. I think it's the glue and the card, and yeah, it's sewn all the way around beautifully. It has gone through, it has sewn, but it didn't like it, and that's probably because I had to put too many layers of felt on. But it did work. It did. There you go, all the way around. So that's made it. So that's my clock. There you go, that's what we've got so far. So, but perhaps if you don't... I wanted that stiff, obviously, because it's got a holder mechanism. So, perhaps we need to go back to the drawing board. Right, I've put my clock in the back. I had to cut a little bit of the... felt away for it to go through far enough for me to get the nut on underneath. So I put a washer, then the nut, and then you put on your small, then your next, and then your second hand, and as you can see it's going round. Just hold it still long enough you'll be able to see it moving. That's a continuous second hand. That was at the top at 12 o'clock, and that's moved, so I know if you look at the side it's very close to the back. If you just look at the side there, but it is above, so it should be able to move freely. Now if I hold the back there upright where I'm going to fix it to the wall, then you can see that the head actually droops back a bit. So I may have got away with, if I put 2 layers of the fleece or at the top on one of them where I didn't put the fleece all the way, I could have put another piece of interfacing to make that a little bit stiffer. But this is a prototype, it's working, that's exactly how I want it. I had it in my head how to sew it together. Now we've got I should pull the battery back out now, and then now I've got to put all the felt bits on, which I should be gluing into place. So as you can see, that's when I've put all of the felt eyes, nose and feet on, and I put the plug back in and it's still going round. If you look from the side, it's still proud, so so they should still be able to move around. Next time I'll only put 1 layer of felt. Obviously I had to cover it up. Now I want to put the numbers on. And I've got these that I'm going to try and get out of my sissix in card, white card. And there we go. I've managed to cut the numbers out of the old cutting numbers that I bought off somebody else months ago, and I think it's only the second time I've used them. First time I cut them in felt, and this time I cut them in card. I think I've got them all straight, but isn't that good? I mean, that's from out of my head, finding the shape of owls on the internet, and then just looking at other pictures of owls, cartoon owls and things, of how they highlighted it and made the claws and the eyes and the beak, and then just using that mechanism. So I've actually sewn a clock, and you can do that any shape. A dog, a cat, any other animal that you can think of that you like. You can put them in children's rooms, you can make them bigger than that and put them in adults' rooms, but I've just shown that it could be done. Perhaps everyone else now, if that inspires you to have a go, instead of using felt for your face, you can get that very thin wood board, and I can't remember what you call it, but perhaps that's an idea. You can get them big googly eyes for the eyes for any of the animals that you're using. So instead of using felt, perhaps that would be a way to go. and as you can see, it's not too floppy at the top, but it might have been better if I'd doubled that up. I'm quite proud of that. I think that looks brilliant. It works. It's a clock. I've got all the numbers on. If you didn't want to do all the numbers, you can just do 12, 3, 6 and 9. That might be a way that you can, if you haven't got anything to do the numbers, perhaps that's another way you can look at it. But yeah, I'm really chuffed with that. That works well, I think. So it looks like an owl. It's got highlights for the eyes and the beak. It looks, the way I've turned it over, looks like ears. The mechanism works, as you can see, it's going around. All the numbers are in place, so we can actually tell the time now. And it's got some feet, and it's sitting on absolutely nothing, just fresh air, but still. I made that out of my head. There you go. I'm really chuffed with myself, actually. I've been planning it now for about a fortnight, so I've been thinking about how to go about sewing it, what mediums I needed to use, where to source the patterns, what patterns I needed to do, what I wanted it to make, whether it's stiff or soft, etc, etc. So it'd be great. So tell me what you think about it in the box below, and if you have a go, tell me what animals you make. Thank you for joining me. Please hit the like and subscribe button and come on back and we'll try and think of some more videos to make. Thank you.